Time to expose the master timeline. Now, I'm no insider, but here are my thoughts on which path XRP cryptos and stocks will take in the coming months to years. You guys ready? And it all comes down to breaking an ACS inflation rises to 2.4%. Bad news bears, bad news bears, and bad news bears, because Jerome Powell is about to implode. Okay, his mind is about to explode, guys, and he does not want to see inflation rising, right? That's his worst enemy. He actually wants inflation to come down now, but it did go up again, right? It was supposedly below expectations, but John Powell wouldn't care at all, guys, right? He doesn't care. We need to see inflation going down, not up again, right? Even doesn't matter if it was below expectations. So here's the game plan, because this ties into what I think we're going to see in the coming weeks for XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum and every other coin out there. And I think it's going to be bearish, right? I think it's going to be bearish, but we're going to be talking about the charts in just a second. First things first, Donald Trump is literally at this point in time screaming at the top of his lungs, CPI just out, great numbers, that should lower 1 full point, would pay much less interest on that coming due. So important, right? So Donald Trump is on a screaming marathon as we speak, guys, and trying to attack Jerome Powell at full force. But Jerome Powell hasn't even made a statement on this, right? Like Jerome Powell does. You know what I would do if I was Jerome Powell right now? I would actually raise rates. Literally. I mean, if they're not going to cut, just raise rates. So everything breaks down, but they won't, because I think it's because what are they waiting for? What are they waiting for? Exactly. Time. Time plays a factor in just a second. Then comes Donald Trump's minion, Justin, Vice President J.D. Vance, says the Fed's refusal to cut rates is monetary malpractice. Called that. The Fed needed to cut rates so long ago, but here you know when they're going to cut. Race, Trump, and Vance. They're going to cut Jerome Powell, and the Fed will cut rates during fall timeframe. During fall is when they cut, and during fall is when everything literally explodes. We're going to see the craziest old season. We're going to see a demonic rally. Now, someone asked a while back ago, why do you say a demonic rally, a demonic pump, right? It's because it's going to be, the people are going to get sacrificed, right? Because of that recession. Now, let me explain what's going on here. So I am more bearish than bullish at this point, right? Because of these external factors coming into play. Here are my thoughts on what extra people do in the master plan XRP has going for it. Number one, I do believe it's going to come down right now. How low is the issue? How low will XRP go before the actual bottoming out process occurs? Then we fly to new all-time highs, right? Remember this path every other coin will take. Some will be stronger, some will be weaker, okay? But I think everything's following XRP as we speak. I feel this, what I feel, okay? This what I feel. Let me tell you right now, bottom A or bottom 1 will be right here, 2 right here, 3 right here, 20% chance. I believe this will be the bottom, okay, at $1.80. I believe this will be the bottom at around $1.50 for XRP. And another 30 chance, I believe this area will be the bottom, which is around $1.25 per XRP. Well, where will it bottom out if it hasn't already bottomed out? I said if we already have bottomed out, XRP can just come like this, because there's so much liquidity here taking in rise, right? But I think I have the strong feeling somebody removed this feeling from my body. I don't know why, but I believe this will happen. Guys like this, right? We pump all the way up, and they take the liquidity and they dump it all the way back down. The real bottom happens right here. Right now, I'll be in time for the money printing now. This will be the craziest ride of our lives, because it's like literally a roller coaster if there were to happen like that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen like that, right? XRP bottom, could already be an itch. I don't think it is. It's just my intuition, right? So you don't have to, exactly. You just take it like a grain of salt, guys. I'm no insider, but that's what I believe. Okay? That's what I believe will happen. But I'll know due to the USDT dominance charts. When we get to that point, I'll let you guys know. But again, could we rise from here on out? Liquidity says no. And if there's a bunch of people longing the bottom, as we see right here, by the depth of all these longs, right? It's literally how much thick it got, guys. It got so thick that it turned red. The color turned red. You rarely see red, right? As you guys can blatantly see at the top area right here, not one single red color code, right? But down here you do, because there's so much people longing, right? Because XRP went down there multiple times, but they didn't go for the full liquidity. Here's the game plan. Okay, here's the game plan. So I believe XRP will take this liquidity, because they do. Market makers take it 90% of the time, right? But okay, let's say we take the liquidity, right? We take the liquidity right here. Is this the bottom? I don't think so. You know why? I think we're actually going to go down. The reason being is because we just got news that this side informed naysayers, officials, that is fully ready to launch, right? Some type of mission into the other side. You guys just have to read this, right? This is alarming. This is alarming, I must say. This is alarming. Not to mention when CPI came in higher than it was previously at our inflation debt. Plus, you tie it in with this odd right there on high alerts. America's Janaeson is on high alert as we speak, guys. Okay, it literally came out a couple hours ago, right? So it's fascinating how I had a feeling this was a long time ago, right? That they were going to come back for these lows. It's weird. You see it, why so demonic and sinister for these people is because they tie in like casualties, right? Certain events that brings market down, right? Brings the market down. But the charts tell you first, that's why I believe like 20% chance of a bottom right here. If this is the bottom was set here. Liquidity grab, and pump. That's scenario A. Scenario 2 is bottom here, right? Which everyone will be scared, then pump. The third would be all the way down here. Oh, another thing is I believe the bottom will be set by this or next month, okay? This first hour / next month, it will be set if it hasn't already been set. Right. We could obviously pump right now, but that's, I mean, it's all about probabilities, right? Of what's going to happen. But I do believe the bottom, if it hasn't already been said, it's going to be said by end of this month to next month. Right now, we're going to rise crazy. And then probably during fall timeframe recession hits, the actual macro bottom will be formed, then rise to probably like 2,200 per XRP. Those are my thoughts. Now, base and P500 dumped. Interesting. People are trying to sell, it seems, is right. Again, maybe there are some insiders that know what's about to be imminent, right? Especially with these geopolitical events. Hey, Michael Saylor, are you there yet? Because why did your directors dump 70% of his MicroStrategy stock last week, supposedly? One of the important people at Michael Saylor. I mean, and MicroStrategy sold a bunch of his stock last week, like $10 million worth. Okay, question. I don't know. He doesn't seem too bullish on Bitcoin because it's correlated with Bitcoin. His stock is, then here comes Trump. Okay, let me actually follow this account. So basically what's happening here is the tariffs. The tariff talks were concluded. Okay, he says our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me, full magnets. And any necessary rare earths will be supplied upfront by China.